Game number 1 of the grand final in North America. HeroesHype, the final qualifier before we go into the playoffs of Season 2. On the left side, ladies and gentlemen, PEDs with Legacy on Anduin, Flyest Raven on Medivh, Farts on ETC, Pogex on Maiev, and we have Troy on Falstad as Team Feedem starts towards the right of HeroesHype with Cure on Dehaka, Zagrag on Anubarak, Lutano on Greymane, Hosty on Liming, and Collusion on Uther. Every single time we have an Uther in a North American game, I'm immediately a little bit confused to discover that he's not being played as the main tank of the series. I think I'm... Yeah, like, it's a little bit weird because every single time we cast like LFW, for example, in Fury, it's just Uther. So, well, we'll see how this goes. And it was a pretty incredible semi-final series, I gotta say. Like, if you watch this game here currently on YouTube and you haven't caught the semi-final with Team Feedem going up against LFW, you should definitely check that video out. It was absolutely... It was an incredible series. It was a really, really fun one. A lot of back and forth there. And obviously, if you watch this on YouTube and you like the commentary, make sure that you give the video a thumbs up on YouTube. Helps with the algorithm. Comments are also always appreciated, and if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, you should definitely do that. YouTube video, a new one every single day with a lot of Heroes of the Storm action here, so yep, definitely help to grow the channel and hit that sub button. But as it stands, in our early game, this is still a best of 3 series in our grand final, and it's kind of cool to see Medivh here. So Medivh is played, and we're going to keep our eye on him until he completes his baseline. Towards the top, we have actually the traditional wingman build for Troy. Not really a shocker. I mean, yes, there are still the opportunities to go into a season marksman build or something along those lines, but it's still wingman priority these days, especially on the bigger maps. And well, level 4 is a talent where you can still have a little bit of leeway on what you want to go for, as long as we're going to see the inevitable boomerang on level 7. Then again, as I say, I gotta admit at least that there is also a variation where you can fully spec into the lightning rod. It's not as common, but if you want to play a lot around your global ability and really get the wave clear going, then of course boomerang is the weapon of choice. Camps are taken from both teams now on this map, and well, the first objective is going to spawn at the bottom, as you're going to see here. So with the Anubarak on the other side, a hero that has kind of disappeared a little bit out of the meta of Europe. We still have the opportunities for a big engage. And talking about engages, we're having one at the right side of the map. They're trying to go for the camp. 3 versus 3. Is Dehaka coming in for this one? Yes, he is. And a nice save against Maiev here. She was in trouble. The team still might be. But for now, they are able to move away from this one. Boy, that was a pretty decent skirmish there. And uh-oh, what do my sore eyes see? We have on level 4, Triumvirate taken for Li Ming. Now, as I'm not tired of repeating, if you go into the level 4, you should still always go for Calamity on level 7, but I wouldn't really be too upset to see level 4 and level 16 orb builds combined for Hosty over here. We'll see how deep they go with that build. Also, as I already started to talk a bit about Falstad, let's just quickly mention that he actually went into the static shield here. So, as previously mentioned, Boomerang still the standard on 7, but with this follow-up on the level 1 talent, you could go full on into the Lightning Rod and pick it on level 7 as well. Troy flying in deep into the back, and he might get Lutano here. Greymane, he is dead. Greymane down, and a channel also on the first objective has been successful a bit previously for Team Feedem. But right now, we're having the first kill for them. So here we go. Down towards the bottom of the map. Hosty is already sitting tight and goes up against Medivh again, who at this point is at 1450 stacks actually. Correction. The first kill went over to PEDs. And can they take it here? That's a bigger one. I mean, they lost the objective, they got a kill for it. Doesn't really give them too much yet. Obviously on Cursed Hollow. The cool thing about Cursed... There's a couple of really cool things about Cursed Hollow. One of the things is that, first of all, you have 2 bosses on the map starting with the 5-minute mark, which is pretty sweet because it offers a few more tactical options for the teams. Illusion able to escape here, by the way. Another thing is that with the objective working around triple tributes, you can actually let some of them slide in order to grab anything else on the map, like an objective, maybe a boss, maybe you want to get a kill. So you have a little bit more leeway on the objective, and this is actually a pretty cool thing. Now in Talents, we have a Calamity, thank God, and A hasn't gone full crazy yet. And we also have a Boomerang. Again, would have been an option to go full Lightning Rod build here, but if you want to get a lot of value out of your global and push out lanes later on, and therefore also get the quicker stacks for your level 1 ability, then Boomerang is still the play. Helps you also in the team fights to get a bit more burst out of this one. But Troy, well, the only burst that he sees is the burst damage that flies his way and takes him down, because he got spotted in that bush pretty quickly, and that's the end of him. The Haka is still at the bottom of the map. That's honestly where Falstad should have probably been at this point, so that he can capitalize on his global ability a bit more. And this is going to be a second tribute for Team Feedem. They're going to play around this objective here. Medivh at the bot lane, he can't really do too much. Cure is in a position where whenever he needs to be at the top, he can fly in. Or sorry, global in. But he's going to push another wave out, which is exactly what he does right now. And then he can global, which gives them a massive lead in experience. So at this point, he doesn't even go for it. He goes for another wave and even more damage over here, because his teammates are already interrupting this. The fight is still on. They try to go for Lutano, and if Lutano dies, the Haka isn't even going to make that move. This is the beauty of you having an additional tribute over your opponent. You can give this up. And with that, we're just seeing Cure sitting at the bot lane, getting massive damage in against the fort, getting wave after wave. Their opponents aren't able to pull that off. And what is that going to result in? Guessed it already, an early level 10 for them. And that will drop an easy second tribute into their hands that cannot be contested by their opponent. So this is exactly why I talked about the tribute mechanic here. You can make different choices. You can let a tribute slide, especially if you're ahead already, and can just say, okay, we would rather have the early level 10. And then maybe get the third tribute on the map for free. Now, Tribute is spawning, and with level 10 abilities here, but only half a level missing, PEDs might be able to grab this one and fight for it on level 10 abilities, but has still an advantage. 27 stacks now for Medivh as he's trying to get a few more. Everybody else is zoning at the bottom. They're already attempting to see if they can maybe grab someone on the rotation, and with another 9 seconds missing, look at Greymane. He's already zoning out Troy here. Greymane wants that chicken. He wants the chicken, but he's not quite going to get it. And Uther seems to be the one heading towards the tribute. Level 10 is soon going to be ready, but they're zoning them out as they don't have the heroic abilities yet. So this should be a successful channel. Finush, oh, interrupted by Flyest Raven. Barely, but there's the cocoon, and they're trying to make the play. They're trying to force the fight right now. Greymane went in deep down at the bottom, by the way. Lutano is in a bit of trouble, but the fight is already starting, and Lutano can go in right now, has to go for the throats here, and could use it. Ability is still ready. Flyest Raven cannot die. He's at 31 stacks. If he falls, he has a big problem in the remaining part of this game. But the kills will coming, and that's the first one against Maiev. Maiev is down, and they want more. They get Anduin. The fort is already obliterated, and then they're looking for even more pressure through the bottom of the map. Falstad flies up. Tries to at least get some value, and he does. Bribes the camp and gets that done, but of course the second tribute is in their hands, and they're not stopping there. They're building the momentum now. Feedem focuses their attention straight up onto the boss. They know they can easily grab that now. There's nothing left on the opponent's side that really threatens them at this point in time. Heroes are back now, so they need to hurry. That's where Greymane comes into play. And here we go. Leyline isn't ready. Can't make it. Oh, wow, they actually go for it. They try to get ETC in. Can they actually steal that? That would be insane. Zagrak is low, gets the sun. They're going to steal this one. Or Medivh goes down, the stacks are reset, and there's the attempt. But the kill against ETC turns the fight. Maiev is down, and so is Falstad. Much closer affair than I originally anticipated, I have to admit it. But it is an insane win for Team Feedem. An absolutely insane victory. You kill Medivh and you drop all of his stacks on the baseline. They still take the boss, they get 4 kills with it. Couldn't have gone any better than that. Unbelievable. Insane setup, and now the world is their oyster. Boss at the top, they can time the next tribute that comes in. They will have a level 13 abilities. This is an unmitigated disaster now for PEDs. They have to defend against the boss. They know that a second boss will be taken by the opponent. Level 13 talents are ready. They cannot really fight for the tribute any longer. This is going to be incredible, incredible damage. Especially with the top lane now being attacked too through that camp. could even go for that. They're already taking the vision away, and they're going to steal the camp, aren't they? Of course they are. They want Maiev. They don't quite go for her here, but PogX is in trouble. This one is an easy destruction now. There's the rubble that formerly was the fort of the top lane, and now we're having a push towards the top keep. And what should really stop them? Worse than that, there's even more damage at the bottom of the map. What a disaster right now. 21,000 damage from Greymane, 18,000 from Li Ming. Well, here's the attack as they're starting to move through. They're trying to go for the kills, but Falstad is dead. Moshpit gets interrupted. The Divine Shield actually on Lutano, and they're just moving through the opponent like a scythe through a cornfield. Right now, the fort, the keep is down. Guess what? The second one on the bottom of the map is also going to fall. And guys, with the Li Ming down, they might be able to save the game. But Flyers Draven gets dropped. The boss is moving on to the core, still on 100%. They get the entire team wiped. Well, maybe with the exception of Legacy, even though he eats a lot of damage. But this is probably going to be it. A big wipe at the boss initiates it, and Team Feedem with the lead in the grand final here against PEDs after a cursed hollow victory in game number 1. GG and well played. Game on, ladies! PEDs in the grand final against Team Feedem. Last game, a little bit of a hiccup. That boss fight definitely turned it against PEDs pretty quickly. Now they're starting on our second map, Infernal Shrines, on the left with Legacy on Oriel. They still believe in Flyest Raven's Medivh. We have PogX on Blaze, Troy on Vala, and Farts on Melganis. Over to the right side of the map, Team Feedem with the lead in this series, with Q on Sonya, Killusion on Deckard Cain, Stitches played by Zagrok, Lutano on Hanzo, and Hosty on Tacita. Time to shine. Should be a pretty decent one, but we have Sonya back to business. Has actually been spotted in one of the European top games as well just recently, which was kind of interesting, bit of fun. In this case, even a double support for her, since we have, of course, the shield of Tacita to help her out here. And that should be an interesting one. So, yeah, let's see if we're gonna have a third map in this series, or if Team Feedem crowns themselves the champion with a 2-0 victory over their opponent. At this point, the attack already against the blue team. Last game, I gotta admit, it could have gone a very different way. Ooh, good hook against Melganis, the roots, but not enough damage. Yeah, it could have gone a total different way, considering that that boss fight could have ended with a win for PEDs, but obviously with the boss lost, the curse hitting shortly after, the second boss was taken, and also 4 kills against it. That was a bit of an issue. Vala goes down as the first blood in the series, and Cure is rotating between lanes to give his team the experience. And Lutano is also getting attacked here. We're having, well, Zagrok still rotating around, trying to pull a bit of a JPL here, with one hit after another on those hooks, but let's see. Level 1 for him, the Patchwork Creation. Pretty good for the Shrine fights, actually, on this map. Great talent. They get aggressive around Lutano. Ooh, missing a shot here against Vala. We have also Tacita jumping out of it. Towards the mid lane, though, PogX with the rotations. Blaze just setting everything ablaze here. Trying to make sure that they are not losing out on any XP, but obviously he has to do the work against 2 heroes now, since we're having a little bit of help. Another Flyest Raven, careful buddy. Yep, nearly a kill. Lost the stacks already in the last game, wants to make sure that at least this time he completes his quest, and should definitely get out of here. Another heal from Legacy, but Raven form for the winner, I suppose. Level 4. And with that, we're now also getting the potion of shielding. It's great for the shrine fights, seriously. I mean, again, on Infernal Shrines, if you have a Sonya in particular and you get the shields out, you have Tacita in the setup, then you normally have a lot of sustain with this one. And what the fuck is that? Are you kidding me? Creed of a Hunter in a serious game? You gotta be joking, right? I mean, he has to be kidding. That has to be a misclick. He can't be serious. This is one of the best maps if you want to play around a multi-shot build, because you're getting mad value on any objective against the opponent and against the objective, plus the minions and the wave clear. And this is literally the worst talent that you can possibly take on Vala in any setup in a serious game. And he really goes, that has to be a misclick. I mean, seriously. As much fun as I make about NA sometimes, there is no way that was an intentional pick here. I mean, at this point, you might then as well go into the auto attack, but that can't be real. Horrible talent choice here. Big problem for them, especially when it comes to the objective itself. There's a reason why on Vala for like 2 or 3 years we've never really seen this talent played on a competitive level. Atrocious, very difficult to complete if your opponent knows what they are doing, and the value that you get out of it is extremely limited. And especially on a map where wave clear on the objective reigns supreme, this is definitely not a good pick. But alright, the IQ test failed on this one. If you're talking about the 200 IQ plays, this is a 50 IQ play right there. But again, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say it was a misclick. Either way, Troy is getting pressured a little bit all the way up to the top, and let's see what they're gonna get with this. So far we're having 8 stacks for him. We're seeing currently the Poison Spear coming through. No level 7, by the way, for the team in blue. But as you can tell, they're giving this up. The red team is currently not really interested in this. They did this in the previous series in the semi-final against their opponent too. They're letting the objective slide because what they're doing instead is try and get as much damage against the structures on the remaining lanes. And this also results in them having an advantage in experience. So the objective will be taken eventually with 39 stacks taken. So that's not going to be a big issue. But there is a lot of pressure that has been applied by Team Feedem. They have been breaking through 2 walls. It did a bit of damage against the fort in the middle, so this is definitely going to help them with that. But they sacrifice the objective as a result for this. Towards the top, having Farts currently sitting against Hosty alone. Not really a lot that they can do there. Objectives are still claimed. But they still have to defend against the Punisher, obviously, and that's why they're rotating a few heroes up. I guess at the end of the day, it's going to be a 5-man defense to burn it down as quickly as they can. Wall should still fall. PEDs should be able to make that happen. And by now, Vala going into the Arsenal East, which kind of confirms my theory that this was a misclick. At least to my end. Would be a weird hybrid. Alright, gets a few more stacks out of this one. Zagruk actually gets slowed down here aggressively, and Zagruk is going to fall. Needs to be a little bit more careful if they are not having Tacita there for the shields. Tacita also with the armor again for themselves. 9 against 9 currently, the levels. Now, I kind of don't want to be a broken record about this level 4 talent, but there's a lot of people that always like say, hey, what's actually wrong with this? And I mean, I talked about a few of the easier points earlier, but there's a couple of other things I want to quickly point out, just because that question pops up occasionally. So, this is, in particular, this is a talent, the additional 10% attack speed are pretty much meaningless. So this talent doesn't give you any value, any real value, unless you complete it. And in a decent game, the completion will kick in extremely late in the game. So it's a talent that doesn't do anything for you up to that point. So pretty much that means if you already win the game, you will win it a little bit harder if you can complete it in the late game. But if you're losing out on the game, then this is a wasted talent slot up to that point. And the bigger problem is that if you go into any other build, like an arrow build or also multi-shot build, even if you are behind in the game and you're getting constantly pressured by an opponent that is aggressive against you, you get value from the ranged poke. But if you're falling behind with this particular setup, you still, in order to need to get decent value, need to be in auto attack range, which is even more difficult for you because you have to expose yourself against an opponent that is already ahead of you. So it's it's nearly impossible to get value from the talent when you are in a game that you are not already winning, or where you're not already applying pressure to your opponents the other way around. You are the one that is struggling. So that's another reason, or another 2 reasons why this is a really bad choice. There was actually one team in HGC in Europe that tried playing with that build once, and it was actually Team Liquid. Neuro played that, and they got massacred. That was on Towers of Doom, and outside of that, that talent never was played even once. So, yeah, you can see right now, I mean, we're looking at level 10 abilities, and we have 36 stacks on the talent. So it's the 3rd completed at level 10. And it's not going to look any prettier with level 13, so pretty much highlighting exactly that. Now, of course, if you make it to level 20 with a completed talent, you have Manticore and you have your Farfly Quiver, or if you feel the safety to go into Rancor, even that, you're gonna get value out of this. But that's not the point. Every single time that any discussion starts with, but I get value at 20, or I get, this hero is good at 20, you already know that you're in a losing argument, and that, yeah, that this is not gonna make any sense. At least if you're talking about solid play. If you want to play that shit in quick match and you like the dings, then hey, by all means, go for it. But if you're talking competitive, then that's a different story. So camp is taken towards the top right. We have 3 kills against 2, with Mal'Ganis falling at the bottom of the map. Interestingly enough, we have actually Gorge taken for Stitches, which I find pretty much interesting because this is a map where you get a lot out of Putrid Bile when you're talking about fights on the objective lane itself. But if Zagrag is able to get good isolation for them, it's nice. They can try and isolate a little bit more with Deckard Cain. What was very popular in Europe for a long time was a combo with Falstad and Stitches, so that you could Gorge and then gust the opponent's team away, so that you had a full isolation on the target. You could accomplish the same thing also with Medivh, who in this case sits on the opposite side, and is sitting now on 29 stacks for the Arcane Rift. So still not done with the quest. Oh, Sheeps can actually spat a little bit. Be careful with that. There's the hook. A few more attacks. Zagrag, again, needs to be a bit more careful. And gets wrecked here. He is going a bit too aggressive. The team outside of that is still getting the kills in, which is kind of nice, but they need to keep Stitches alive a little bit longer, so he needs to be careful with this. Legacy gets attacked here too and goes down as well. Vala has already fallen, and we have level 13 abilities for both of the teams. But it's a mad attack now against PEDs, and they are struggling severely here with a 4 versus 3. And there's the ult on the side of Collusion, putting the opponent to sleep, trying the same thing that we're seeing normally from Mal'Ganis. The arrow misses, and Q is still alive thanks to the self-sustain that he gets here. Has, by the way, gone on level 13 into No Escape. We've seen him with a Shot of Fury and the Poison Spear here. But now that they're going for the objective, we are heading into the next stage of the game, with the middle already getting attacked quite heavily here. So, at this point, more push through the bottom of the map. Fort in the middle has, by the way, not fallen. The camp was a problem, but it hasn't really dropped the fort. But obviously, it's ripe for the taking if they ever decide that they want to go for this one. Gloom on level 13 for Vala, making sure that she can dodge a little bit out on the damage. Manticore with this build on level 16. If you want to go into a full auto attack build, again, in Brawls or in ARAM, you can definitely go for a little bit of a funsy build. Then you wouldn't really go for Arsenal, but instead you would go for Death Dealer. Arsenal was mostly taken on this map to also get a little bit more value on the objective. I've talked earlier about the hybrid, or about the multi-shot build, how much value you can get out of the level 4 and level 7 talent there. But as it happens, here comes the attack, and they got the fort, and guys, they might even get the keep out of this fight. Yeah, they're going in for mad aggression, and this is highlighting the points that I made against the Vala talent a little bit earlier. Again, she doesn't get value out of these auto attacks. All of this would have happened without the level 4 talent too, and even more effectively, since you get more value out of their multi-shot. But Vala at this point is therefore a lot less useful and is getting dropped again. And it just shows how difficult it is. 63 stacks for her at level 15, 11 minutes into the game. And the level 10, the level 4 talent has pretty much given her no value whatsoever right now. So with this, we're now having the attack against Stitches. And Stitches is just getting wrecked this game. I mean, Stitches is getting murdered. But they got the keep, so it's still totally worth it. They got the keep, they can defend their own at the top with Lutano moving in, and therefore that's happening. Vala, obviously, still the top damage of her team, only real range damage. Kind of surprising though, she is not as high as I would have thought she would be here, with with Medivh coming in second on 22,000. Then again, 20,000. 22,000 on Sonya, we have 32 on Hanzo, and also good old Tassadar is doing as well. But at this point, we have even core damage claimed now. So even core damage has come in now, with a slightly inexperience at least for the blue team, because they got several kills against their opponent when they were behind. So that's a big relief for at least a few more seconds. But it is going to be tough to defend that bot lane now, especially since your opponent with a few kills could go for the core straight away. And I guess at the end of the day, that's going to be the goal for Team Feedem. Nullification on Tassadar is also not going to be great for Vala, since she is the prime target for this. There's the level 16 abilities for Feedem, and that gives us again the Psionic Echo. and, which is more important, Nerves of Steel, which is pretty incredible for Sonya, since survivability in the late game makes her a completely different beast to handle. This is exactly what we're gonna get there. As expected, Manticore is getting picked here. I would still, considering how this game went so far, expect her to go into Farfly Quiver on level 20 if it ever comes to that. At this point, there's obviously a chance that the game even ends before this. Top lane gets attacked with the camp taken at the bottom of the map. They know, ooh, that is actually a very aggressive move. I mean, holy hell, dude. That is a lot more aggressive. That's a lot of resources already used. Blaze just used his bunker and everything and is still low and has to be saved now. And he goes down way too aggressive. And Zakrak again walking into the trap. He's actually following someone else, and all of a sudden Auriel and Vala appear. And he's just like, oh my god, not again. Gets stunned into the wall and gets dropped once more. Yeah, different setup would have been great for them. Here comes the attack. Whoa, nicely. And they're just moving away from this. So the fight was still forced, and the blue team did way better in this battle than I expected them to. But it's a 1-for-1 trade in kills, which makes it pretty much even. And Team Feedem got additional damage against their opponent. So that's not a bad trade for them. Also, what is going to... Ooh, actually, we have on level 16 the Reservoir of Hope. That's a bit surprising. I would have expected even more of an auto attack speed for Vala, but she didn't get that. Okay. 72 stacks, by the way. So yeah, coming back to my point, 13-14 minutes in, we're on level 17, and she still hasn't completed the talent. So up to this point, just imagine how the team would look if she would have gone into something that's actually useful on either the objective or in those teams fights. Yeah, for now, Cure, top side, is going to deal with the situation. The camp, or sorry, the shrine is spawning top 2. So they have to be cautious around this. And at least they got the earlier pressure against the bottom of the map, which means that we're having catapults being pushed back very heavily, but there's still 2 alive, and there's a 3rd one coming in now. So potentially a triple catapult pushing through the bot lane soon. Still going to need quite a bit of time to make it to the core. 14 minutes in, don't think that's going to be a threat to PEDs at any point here. But the attack is there, and there's again the fight around the top. Already the setup. Stitch just needs to be cautious at the front. Tassadar should definitely reserve a shield for him for the extra armor. Gets the Gorge against Vala. Immediately stunned out by Legacy. Great move by Auriel. And that puts him into another bad spot. Gets a bit more damage in. Good arrow from Hanzo. Follow up from Deckard Cain. And they look for the damage. They look for Legacy, and they might get the kill here. Pork X is already low. Legacy is incredibly low too and tries to keep the team alive. But it is tough. Again, especially with Vala in a situation like this, not being able to rely as much as she would usually be able to onto any of her abilities to get the Reservoir of Hope a little bit stronger. But in the same way, we also have to mention that Auriel obviously got reworked slightly, which means that now the hope that she generates is a lot more based on her and not solely exclusive on the hero that has the trait applied to it. So that's a big one to this. 31 stacks. They're about to get another one here. The attacks keep coming. This might actually be the way where he can complete the quest. So far there's a lot of damage against him, but that's another 4 stacks. Vala should be able to complete it here. Auriel goes down. Vala completes the quest, instantly dies, and they get the 3rd kill against Mal'Ganis. Pork X is down 2. He can pock all day long. Fly as Draven tries to fly, but gets hit by the stick of the old man. And guys, this should be game. Catapults at the bottom of the map. That's 4 catapults on the core. This is game right here. And as you can tell, Vala at no real point got a whole lot out of this one. So, yep. There we go. No value for Vala on her level 4 ability. And this is game as Team Feedem goes in and takes a 2-0 victory against PEDs in the 2nd game of the Grand Final. Team Feedem once again the champion. And next week, we're going to head into the playoffs. GG, and well played. Hey guys, thanks for watching today's video, and I hope that you enjoyed the match and the commentary. The remaining time of the video has been added to protect against spoilers caused by the length of the video itself. But please keep in mind, though, that this does not only mean more work for me, but also has a negative impact on the popularity of the videos and the channel because of YouTube's algorithms. It would be greatly appreciated if you'd consider supporting the channel and help me to continue the daily esports coverage by clicking the join button below the video or supporting me through the Patreon page linked in the video description. Thanks a lot for the support and see you guys next time.